Have you ever considered moving closer to your children as you grow older? It sounds like the perfect way to stay connected, right? But what if this well-intentioned decision could actually lead to regret? In today's video, we'll explore why living close to your children in old age might not seem like the dream scenario. We'll dive into the emotional and practical challenges that many people have faced, so stay tuned to learn more. Don't forget to support us by subscribing to the channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. As we grow older, it's only natural to start thinking about how and where we'll spend our golden years. Many of us imagine being close to our children, helping raise the grandkids, spending more time together, and being there for each other. It's often painted as the perfect scenario for staying connected. But what if I told you that this romanticized vision might not be as ideal as it seems? Based on numerous personal stories shared across various platforms and forums, a recurring theme emerges. Living too close to your children as you age can lead to unintended consequences. One major concern is the fear of becoming a burden. As we age, we may require more support, and while your kids might initially welcome the idea, it can gradually lead to unspoken resentment. Imagine this. Your children are likely in the middle of their careers, managing households, and possibly raising kids of their own. Being nearby could unintentionally pressure them into taking on responsibilities they aren't ready for. One mother shared her regret on Reddit, saying she moved closer to her daughter to be part of her life and help with her grandchildren, but eventually realized she was relying too much on her daughter, turning into a burden she never intended to be. It's not that your children don't love you, but living too close can unintentionally strain the relationship. Sometimes living independently helps maintain those cherished family bonds while allowing both you and your children the space to grow. Take the story of a man who moved next door to his son and daughter-in-law, thinking it would be convenient. Within months, he found himself constantly asking for small favors, like picking up groceries or driving him to appointments. Eventually, he stopped doing many things on his own because it was simply easier to ask for help. He admitted, "I feel like I've lost the confidence to do things by myself. My life has started revolving around them, and I've forgotten how to live independently." Staying further away can actually encourage you to maintain your independence. You're forced to stay active both mentally and physically, which can add years to your life and help preserve your identity. Living too close can also strain the very relationships you're trying to nurture. Just because you're family doesn't mean you'll get along all the time, especially when proximity magnifies every little issue. Many older parents report that living too close to their adult children can create an almost parent-child dynamic again, where advice and opinions are freely given, even when they're not wanted. One mother shared in a forum, "I thought living next to my son would mean we'd have more quality time, but instead, it's like I'm always in his way, and I offer my opinions too much, which he doesn't appreciate. It's driving a wedge between us." You might think you're just being helpful, but your children might perceive it as meddling. When you live farther away, interactions become more intentional, and there's a healthy space for both parties to grow individually and nurture a better relationship. Paradoxically, moving close to your children can sometimes lead to feelings of isolation. When you rely too much on your children for companionship or social interaction, you might unintentionally neglect building your own community of friends and peers. One woman shared her story on a forum about moving close to her son, assuming she would be included in family gatherings and social outings. However, she quickly realized that her son's life was busier than she expected, and she felt more isolated than ever. Her son's life was much busier than she expected. She said, "I had uprooted my life, left behind friends and my community, thinking I'd be part of my son's daily life. But he's so busy, and I've ended up feeling more isolated than ever." This highlights the importance of building relationships outside of your family. When you live independently, you're more likely to seek out social activities, meet new people, and maintain a sense of purpose and engagement with the world. This adds vibrancy to your life, something you can't experience if you're overly reliant on your children for social interaction. Another challenge is the guilt and obligation that can arise on both sides. Living near your children can sometimes create an atmosphere of emotional strain. You may feel guilty asking for help, while your children may feel guilty when they don't have time to assist or visit as much as you'd like. One woman shared a poignant story about feeling torn between her aging parents, who lived just down the street, and her own busy life. She said, "Every time I couldn't help them, I felt guilty, but I also felt resentment building up because I wanted to focus on my career and kids." This creates a no-win situation for both parties. Living independently allows that tension to melt away, making visits more cherished and relieving both sides from unspoken expectations. Living close to family may also limit your sense of adventure. There's a tendency to fall into routines, assuming that proximity offers a sense of security. However, this comfort zone can prevent you from experiencing new places, meeting diverse people, and engaging in activities you've always wanted to try. A man shared his story about retiring to a different state rather than settling near his kids. He said, "My daughter was disappointed, but moving to a new city has brought me so much joy. I joined local clubs, made new friends, and found a community that shares my interests. Now, when they visit, I feel like I'm showing them my vibrant life, rather than just being part of theirs." Choosing a different path for retirement can provide a wealth of new experiences and allow you to write the next chapter of your life in a way that's uniquely yours. Lastly, many adult children aren't emotionally or practically prepared to take on the responsibility of an aging parent living nearby. This can place immense pressure on them, even if they try to handle it gracefully. One woman shared how, after her father passed, her mother moved close by, and she realized she wasn't ready for the added responsibility. "I'm trying to balance work and raise my own kids, and now I'm also helping my mom more than I ever thought I would. It's caused stress in my marriage, and sometimes I just feel overwhelmed," she confessed. Living at a distance can give your children the emotional space to prepare for caregiving on their own terms, ensuring that the relationship remains supportive without the weight of obligation. Many adult children are still navigating their own lives and may not be prepared to become caregivers. When you live at a distance, they have the emotional space to approach this role on their own terms. They will be there for you when the time comes, but it's better to let them take on that responsibility naturally rather than feeling obligated too soon. 8. You deserve to focus on yourself. It's easy to believe that being close to your children is the best way to find meaning in your later years. But what about you? After spending decades working, raising your family, and making sacrifices for others, it's finally time to focus on your own needs, passions, and desires. This is your time. One heartwarming story I came across was from a woman who moved to a beach town by herself after retiring. She said, "I spent my whole life taking care of everyone, my kids, my husband, even my aging parents. I thought my next step would be to move closer to my kids, but I realized I had spent enough of my life being what other people needed. I found a place by the ocean, and for the first time in decades, I'm doing things for me. My kids come to visit, but they see a mom who's happy and fulfilled. It's a gift I never expected to give them." Your retirement years should be about rediscovering yourself, reigniting your passions, and enjoying the freedom that comes with this stage of life. Whether it's traveling, taking up new hobbies, or simply enjoying peaceful moments on your own, focusing on your personal growth and happiness benefits both you and your relationship with your children. Your children's parenting choices may frustrate you. Living close to your children often means seeing their parenting styles up close. While this sounds like a great way to bond, it can also lead to frustration if you don't agree with their choices, whether it's about discipline, education, or even what they feed their kids. A grandmother shared her experience online, saying, "I never realized how much I'd struggle with my daughter's parenting until I lived nearby. I want to help, but we constantly butt heads over small things like how much TV the kids watch or how they handle tantrums. It's exhausting, and I sometimes regret moving so close." Another woman echoed this sentiment, saying, "I moved closer to my daughter, thinking we'd spend more time together, but we ended up clashing over how she raises her kids. I grew up in a different time, and it's hard not to give advice, even when it's not wanted. We've argued over things like screen time and discipline, and now I feel like I'm tiptoeing around her. When you live farther away, these lifestyle differences are less apparent, giving you space to accept them without constant friction. This distance helps maintain respect and ensures that your role as a parent doesn't shift into one of constant critique or unsolicited advice. It also allows your children to make their own choices without feeling judged. Proximity can lead to overstepping boundaries. Even with the best intentions, living too close to your children can make it hard to maintain healthy boundaries. It's easy to start popping over unannounced, expecting frequent visits, or becoming overly involved in their daily lives. This can unintentionally put pressure on your kids to respond to your needs at all times, leading to emotional exhaustion for both of you. One woman shared, "I love my mom, but after she moved nearby, I started to feel like I was constantly on call. She dropped by unexpectedly, and while she just wanted to chat, I felt like I had no privacy or space. I started to resent her, and I know she felt hurt by my pulling away." Maintaining boundaries is crucial for both parties to keep a sense of autonomy and mutual respect. Living independently at a distance allows your relationship to breathe and prevents you from overstepping into their personal lives. This space ensures that visits are enjoyable and that both sides feel valued without the strain of constant involvement. Living further apart helps naturally enforce boundaries, allowing your children to maintain their family life while giving you the freedom to enjoy your own. Regular, planned visits become special and cherished rather than an obligation, preventing the tension that can arise from constant proximity. The grandparent role can be overwhelming. Being close to your grandchildren can be a heartwarming experience, but it can also become overwhelming if not balanced properly. When living nearby, there may be an unspoken expectation that you'll be heavily involved in babysitting, school pickups, or spending large amounts of time with your grandkids. While this may feel fulfilling at first, it can become exhausting, especially if you find yourself helping out more than you'd like. One grandfather shared his experience, saying, "I moved closer to my daughter, thinking I'd enjoy more time with my grandkids. I love them dearly, but now I'm watching them almost every day, and it's exhausting. I'm retired, but I feel like I've taken on a new job. I don't know how to say no without causing tension, but I miss my free time." Living at a distance allows you to set clearer boundaries, enabling you to be an engaged grandparent without feeling like you're taking on a full-time role. This ensures that your relationship with your grandchildren remains joyful and not a source of stress or obligation. It may not be easy to admit, but living too close to your children in your later years might not be the ideal situation you once imagined. It can lead to feelings of being a burden, loss of independence, strained relationships, and even isolation. Your best life in retirement may actually involve maintaining a bit of distance, preserving both your independence and the quality of your relationships. Living near your children in old age can bring challenges you may not expect, from feeling like a burden to losing your independence. While staying close in spirit is important, maintaining some distance could actually strengthen your relationships and improve your quality of life. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about living near family as you age? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit from this insight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.